Hey everyone, it's Rita. Welcome back to my channel. So today we have a very exciting new launch from Tilbury. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I would really appreciate it if you hit the red button and decide to subscribe to my channel. So anyway, I am a huge fan of Tilbury. I feel like every single product that I've tried from her line, I absolutely love. So whenever I saw that she was coming up with new bronzers and a new quad, I knew I had to pick them up. I am, again, a huge fan, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna give you like my honest opinion on these products. So anyway, the bronzer retails for $55 and it comes in 4 different shades. I got mine in the shade medium, but it comes in the shade fair, medium, tan, and deep. And then the eyeshadow palette quad, the name is the Desert Haze, and this retails for $53. So anyway, let's go ahead and watch the next clip where I'm going to be applying both the bronzer and the eyeshadow. It's breathtaking. Like, I absolutely see myself just leaving this sitting on my beautiful bandit here behind, just making everything look prettier. It's very, very pretty. I loved how she did like this kind of like rays that she, uses from time to time on her designs. I really like it. It's a beautiful, beautiful rose gold oval packaging. Very, very stunning. And I got mine in the shade 2. So this is in the shade medium. It says just it's a matte bronzing filter for face and body. It is a huge bronzer. So just comparing it to my hand, I don't know if you can tell right there. So this is very, very big and no complaints there. I really loved it. And on her website, which I thought was probably the most interesting thing about this bronzer, it is created with hyaluronic acid. So that is pretty cool. I feel like you're gonna get the benefits of a little bit of skincare in this product. And this is pretty much, I believe it was inspired on her original like airbrush if I can talk, on her original airbrush powders. So she has a whole line of airbrush that's been like pull out her website just to be able to read a little bit better, and it says that it's of course an innovation next generation bronzer. So it says it uses flawless technology inspired by the fine as air, smooth as silk, pore blurring effects. So like I was mentioning, this was inspired or pretty much like the airbrush powder, like the setting powder, which has blurring effects. So this one also has the hyaluronic acid, so that's going to help your skin kind of like retain moisture. So for someone with dry skin, that completely caught out my eye as soon as I found out it had that. And it says it has smoothing silky mica treated with amino acids to impart a silky, smooth, long-lasting feel on the skin. Blurring, soft focusing silica, micro fine perfecting powders, magical microspheres for increased payoff and an elegant silky texture. I absolutely love the way Tilbury always describes her products. Like, I feel like she would be selling anything and it'd be like magical and beautiful, darling. I don't know, I just love her. I love her whole aesthetic on her brand and herself. And it says it's, covetable, collectible, sustainable, with the refills coming soon. So again, that's probably one of the best things that she's been bringing up to her line, with the Hot Lips lipstick and then with this. I wish she did it with a bunch of other her products. But anyway, let's stop with the blabbering and let's just try this bronzer. Open up the compact, it has this huge mirror, so that's pretty cool. I could actually see myself doing my makeup with this mirror. It is very big, and although the product has a lot of weight to it, it is not something that it's too heavy that you can't literally finish up your face carrying this product, and it's not going to be too heavy on your hand. It is absolutely stunning. And to the actual product itself, we're just talking about packaging. Look at how pretty that is. And it has, of course, her beautiful, I absolutely love when products have the magnetic closure. There's just something very satisfying about a magnetic closure. But anyway, for the application, she does have a brush, but I wanted to use my favorite brush. This is by e.l.f. $3 discontinued, sad times. This one is the big stipple brush. Before I go on with the stipple brush on this side, I'm going to go ahead and use a more dense, precise brush. This is the brush that I always like to do or to use whenever I contour my face. So I'm gonna try to contour my face just a little bit with this bronzer, and then I'll just go back with this one to kind of like just blend it into the rest of the face and to give a more bronzy effect. So let's get into the product, and there's not a lot of kickback. So here is the brush already packed, and let's just start to build this up. So this is a bit more on the lighter side, but I think that I could definitely work with this product. It is not too light that it's not showing up, but I feel like maybe the tan one, so the third color, would have been maybe a little bit better for me, but I mean not really, because this is really showing up on my skin. So yeah, that looks really pretty. So you can see how I'm just kind of like lightly contouring the face. And you can see here, there's no product here, and then here, I really do like it. There's no scent to this. If you like your products to not have a scent, you would really like this one. So yeah, there we have it, a little bit of contour. I think that's very subtle, and I would definitely go on to apply more, or I could just leave it as is. It is definitely building up nicely, and I can for sure see how it is contouring my face. Even though this is not like a contour product, it is a bronzer. I really do enjoy using my bronzers as a doubled up, so like as a little bit of a contour, and then I'll just grab a bigger brush to kind of like just bronze the face. So I'm going to use a little bit of this, and I'm going to run it down my nose. Okay, so yeah, that is definitely giving me a nice contour. I really like it. I love whenever I can double up bronzers as contour and as an actual bronzer. So anyway, I'm now gonna go with the e.l.f. stipple brush, and I'm going to start contouring right here on my forehead, or applying this on my forehead. I always like to use this brush, and or in general, whichever I'm using, this one mostly, or this one, and do kind of like the 3 or the C on your face. So here we have half of my face with the bronzer, and here we have half of my face with nothing. So I feel like you can definitely see the bronzer very clearly, like how this part of my face looks a bit more chiseled and way more bronzed than this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the other side. You guys, I really am liking this bronzer. It looks so pretty on the skin, and any time that I go for a matte bronzer, I always like to finish up with a more kind of like shimmery bronzer. But I feel like with this one, it just looks so pretty, and I love how it's easily doubling up as my contour and as my bronzer. You cannot do that very easily with a lot of bronzers, because some of them tend to be a bit more, or a lot more warmer than they are cooler, but I feel like this one is a perfect kind of like neutral shade that I could get away very easily with doing both. This is looking very pretty, and I can tell, like, if I'm like, of course you probably can't tell through the camera, but if I'm like getting my face really close to the mirror, I can definitely see how this powder is kind of like blurring out my face just a tiny bit. Anyway, I'm going to now just kind of like swatch it with my finger, and I'm gonna show you like live swatch here. So let's go ahead and touch this. This is just very soft. Again, no scent. So let's go ahead and show you real quick the swatch right here. Let me see how that went. Okay, that was really bad swatch. So I'm just going to build it up a tiny bit. My swatches are never the best, so bear with me. I'm just kind of like swatching that, and look at how pretty that color is. It is a very pretty bronzer, and again, there's nearly no kickback on the product, so you can see right there. And just touching it like in between my fingers, it's a very smooth, very beautiful, kind of like a very finely milled powder. I really like that. I want to just compare it, just to put it in comparison with the Film Star Bronze and Glow. This is a fairly new product in my collection, and I really love it. So I want to see pretty much in more kind of like in tone, and you know, in the way it feels. So again, this one is also super soft. Actually, Actually, this one feels a little bit softer when I'm putting it in the middle of my fingers. It just feels like very, very soft. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and swatch this next to the other powder. And this one definitely has a bit more kickback. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it here next to this shade so you can see the difference in tone and the difference in shade. I got mine in the, what is this, the light medium, the fair medium it's called. And yeah, this is definitely more on the fair, more cool tone side, I feel. So you can tell. So here we got the Airbrush in the shade medium, and here we got Film Star bronzer in light or fair medium. So pretty much this one definitely looks warmer than this one, but I can still get away with this as doing my contour, and I feel like it looks all done. So we can now move into the Desert Haze quad. So this one is going to be a full matte. So she does have another full matte in her collection called the Sophisticate, which is one of her, I feel like, older quads, and that one is a bit more on the cooler tone. So I've never really been interested in picking that one up because I prefer so much more the warmer, more earthy tone. So whenever she came out with this one, I knew immediately I had to pick it up. And she doesn't have any other full-on quad with only matte shades, so I feel like this is definitely something that was lacking in her collection. Same beautiful packaging, her maroon with the rose gold. You open it up to a mirror, and then you have here the beautiful 4 shades. I'm gonna go ahead and do some swatches just because I want to try the colors before I apply them on my eyes to see how intense or pigmented they are before I kind of like go on with a lot of product. So anyway, we're gonna start with the shade number 1. So I'm just doing a simple swatch, and then there's the color, and I'm going to go ahead and, okay, that's gonna be very hard. Maybe like this, that'll be better. So there's the color right there. Okay, this shade looks way different than I was expecting. This one is kind of like much more pigmented, like darker shade than what it looks like, because the color here looks pretty much whiter, kind of like a very light vanilla shade, and then whenever you swatch it, it looks more of like a salmon-y shade. So anyway, let's go with the second one, and this is gonna be this one right up here, that kind of like more terracotta shade. So I am super blind, you guys, like you have no clue how blind I am. Okay, and then this is very hard. So here we go with, okay, that's super intense and buttery soft. That was super intense. So here we got the lighter one, and then here we got the more orangey, kind of like reddish undertone. I am making a mess with the swatches. That's why whenever I do my swatches, I always do it like with the camera facing up here, because I cannot do like live swatches. But anyway, let's go ahead with the second, kind of like that darker, second to darker shade. And this, again, just with my finger. Okay. Let me just swatch it real quick. Oops, I don't think you can even see. That shade is super stunning. I mean, these colors are extremely pigmented. Look at those shades. Super pretty. And again, her mattes are always so pretty and smooth and blendable. Of course, I haven't used it in my eyes, but just by touching them, they're very soft. Okay, so the very last shade, that's, wow, that's super pigmented. So let's go ahead and move up here on the arm. Wow. That is one intense brown. So here we go, we can actually see all of them. Here is the one that I was expecting it to be way more vanilla shade, but it's really more like a light salmon. And then the very pretty terracotta. We've got another brown with kind of like a more reddish undertone, and then the true very dark chocolate brown. This colors look stunning, you guys. Oh my god, that's probably the worst swatch in history. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a Fenty 230 blending brush, and I'm gonna go into the lighter shade in the palette. So this one right here, and I'm just going to apply this all over my lids, kind of like as a first shade. So I'm just gonna place it everywhere. I feel like this color would also be a good transition color for a lot of skin tones, just like a very light transition shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like start blending this into my crease. This could also be like the perfect kind of like one and done shade whenever you just want like a barely there color, especially if you're in my skin tone range. I think that this is gonna be so pretty to literally just throw that in, maybe even like a little, do a little cat eye with this darker brown, and then just throw in some mascara and you should be good to go. I really like this shade. I'm gonna switch to another Fenty blending brush. This one is the 210, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the terracotta shade on my outer crease and just like on my outer V and bringing it to my crease. So I'm just going to start blending this. I think I'm going to leave the eye as is because I don't want to go too smoky, and I'm going to go ahead and use the kind of like more undertone reddish brown, and I'm going to run this on my lower lashes with a smaller, more precise brush. I mean, you guys, these colors are stunningly pigmented and they just blend it out super easily. I'm gonna go and switch to a kind of like more precise eyeliner brush, and I'm going to go for the the darker brown. This is a stunning chocolate brown, and this does have a bit more, like the palette in general has a bit more of a fallout. I don't know if I mentioned that, but very stunning. Very much in the same formula that her usual matte shades, because her quads always have one or two matte shades. Very beautiful. I really like this palette. I know it's too soon to tell, but I mean, it's so pretty. I feel like a little baby wing today, but look at how pretty and how easy and fast that look came up. And you can definitely go a bit more, kind of like a more smoky eye, but today I just wanted to go for the lighter version, and it just looks super pretty. I could definitely place a bit more of the under eye color, but like I said, I don't want it to make it too smoky, but you could definitely build the color up, or you know, the look up, by just putting like either of these two shades all over the lid to create a more smoky look. But I think like this is gonna be perfect for my everyday. Finish up my makeup, only added some mascara and lipstick. So for lipstick, I'm using Stoned Rose by, of course, Charlotte Tilbury. And I feel like if I had to pick on my very favorite lipstick from her line, would be this one. But anyway, I thought this color paired perfectly with this quad. And I really love the eyeshadows. As you probably could tell on the clip, they were super easy to apply, very easy to blend. Charlotte Tilbury has probably one of my favorite matte formulas out there in eyeshadows. It's so luxurious, so easy to blend, so soft and buttery, and it's just, you know, fuss free, which is a must for me in eyeshadows, especially in eyeshadows. But anyway, absolutely love it. Stunning palette. I feel like she was missing in her collection a quad that was full matte. Like I mentioned earlier, she does have the Sophisticate, but it's more in the cooler tone. So for me, this is perfect because I absolutely love warm shades. And actually, whenever I was thinking about that, like I was done with my look, I'm like, wait a minute, I do have some other, because I thought whenever I was applying this shade, the kind of like more orangey salmon shade, I thought it reminded me of the Copper palette, the Copper chart. So I went to pull it out, and it is similar but not really. But then I noticed that there's a lot of matte shades in this palette. So this one is the Pillow Talk, the Instant Eye palette. And then I looked at my palette, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this little quad, I mean this little trio looks very similar. Like if you actually, even if you put them like side by side, it's gonna be kind of hard, but you can tell that there are a lot of similarities in the shades. So this one is very warm, rusty, and then you have this little trio up here that looks very similar. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them and see if they are in fact similar or they're not. Okay, so I've got here some swatches, and I'm going to actually get up because I feel like I did it a little awkwardly. So let me show you real quick. This is the Desert Haze Trio, I mean quad, so this 4 shades. And these are 5 of the shades from the Pillow Talk palette. I mean, no, they are not exactly the same, but they are very similar. So you can go ahead and, you know, this one definitely is very different from any of this one. The darker one is this shade, and it's still not similar. But in general, it kind of like gives you a bit of the same idea. So yeah, there you go with the swatches. I mean, they are a little bit similar, but still, I mean, to me, it's totally worth having both of them because again, I'm a huge fan. But anyway, on top of being me a huge fan, I really liked how easy this palette was, you know, to work with. And also, I really love this bronzer. I feel like it gives me the perfect, I feel like I'm just being repetitive, but it just gives me the perfect amount of contour and bronzer at the same time. I think it's not overwhelming that I have to be careful with the shade that I picked because I can literally just go very liberal with my brush and it's going to give me the perfect bronzy look. And the only thing for me is, of course, this is an all matte palette and this is an all matte bronzer. It is expected. I do feel that for my face, like for my skin type and what I like in my makeup, I do feel a little bit flat. I already used the, I finished up my look of my face with this, I cannot even think, with this highlight. And then I went on and used the Pillow Talk. This one is in the shade medium, so the darker one. I went on and used this on my cheeks, but I feel like I still need on my eyes. My face, I think it looks perfect. I'm going to go on just and finish up with a more, not one of shimmering, but like a more highlighty finishing spray or like a more hydrating. And the only thing that I would add to my eye look to make me feel a little bit more confident, or just because I feel like it's a little too matte for my everyday liking, I'm just gonna apply a little bit of the highlight with my pinky finger on my inner corners. I just feel like whenever I'm not wearing that inner highlight, I feel like something is missing in my eye look, and that's how I felt right now. So yes, there you have it. I feel like that was the little thing that I was missing on my eye look, or in general on my makeup look. Honestly, this palette, I feel like it's going to be super good for anyone who likes a more kind of like everyday palette. I mean, with her, I feel like with her line, everything is very much on the natural everyday makeup, and I really love that about it. It's very sophisticated, but it's also very realistic for someone who's not gonna do their makeup for Instagram, who's not gonna do, you know, making their videos on YouTube, and just wants makeup for their everyday. But anyway, absolutely happy with both of my picks. Maybe in the future, whenever she comes up with the refills for the bronzer, I think I might pick the tan version, so the second to darker, so it's only 4 shades. I want to pick up the other one that's a little bit darker than this one just to compare them, and I think it'll be good for me to have both of them in case, you know, whenever the summer comes around and I get a little bit more tan. Not that I ever do, because I always like to keep my body out of the sun, but maybe just a tiny bit darker shade to have both of them. I think that will make me very happy. But anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really think that both of these products are definitely worth the price tag. It's luxury makeup. Charlotte Tilbury is a bit more on the expensive side, but it is expected. I loved both of these products and I cannot wait to keep using it, using them a little bit more, and again, pick up the darker shade once she comes up with the refillable options. So anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe before you leave. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!